Okay, running a little bit late, but that's because technology has not been my friend. As per usual, I've been having all sorts of technical issues, but the good news is I managed to fight those technical gremlins and get myself an interview with someone very special, which we're going to play as part of today's live stream. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Talking Con. And if you're watching this, it's because you know that today it's Nerd Christmas. We've had Nerd Christmas Eve. That was yesterday. Now it's Nerd Christmas. I say it's proper. I know it's preview night, but for me, this is when Comic-Con starts for real. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I've also invited a bunch of people from another group which I'm a member of. So we've got one or two people who are going to jump in and talk about what they're expecting for San Diego Comic-Con today. We've also got ourselves, like I say, this video which I'm going to play, which is an interview with somebody who's going to be exhibiting as part of the International Film Festival. We've got somebody who's joining us, Brian, who's part of a panel which he's going to promote and imp at you today. So basically, we've got all sorts of stuff and nonsense. I'm incredibly tempted to cut this countdown short, but no, tell you what, we'll give people a bit of time to jump in. Chuck is joining us. Hello there, Chuck. Thank you so much indeed for those fantastic photos that we showed on yesterday's live stream. It's day 0. Yeah, that I can count. I can count day 0 as part of today. Bob K is joining us. I think he's just sorting out his camera. Alvin is watching as well. Alvin is saying hello. And hi, Leonard. It's Alvin. Alvin has not been too well recently, so it's good to see that he's commenting and welcoming him along. Alvin, all the very best to you, sir, and hopefully you're going to be in fine fettle soon, up to full speed sooner rather than later. If you are tuning into this, I'd be very surprised because, frankly, it's everyone's really busy at this point, getting ready for Comic-Con. At this point, it's coming up to, or it is 9 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time. So either everyone's having breakfast or out the door. I mean, I'm curious to see what Bob's up to at the moment and what his prep is actually looking like. I can see him in the studio. Hello there, Bob. But we're going to be welcoming him into the live stream very shortly indeed, once we've rolled the credits. Again, if you are watching, jump in, spread the word. You got the link. It's on YouTube. We're on all the various social medias. Spread the word. Let's have a bit of a chat about what you can expect from Comic-Con today as we get ourselves ready. Brian's joining us as well. We'll do the live stream, do the opening credits first, and then we've got ourselves quite a big episode for quite a big show. Comic-Con is finally here. Okay, the FOMO is absolutely real. The wish that I was in San Diego right now is absolutely killing me, especially considering that certainly last night and throughout the course of the last couple of days, people have been posting videos, posting pictures of what San Diego is currently looking like, and it's looking splendiferous. The convention center's looking in fine fettle. Everyone there's doing their damnedest to make sure that that's looking good. And of course, in a matter of hours, the doors will open for San Diego Comic-Con. I say it's day 1. I know we've got Dan that's turned around and said it's day 0. It's preview night. And so for a number of hours, say about 3 or 4 hours, at least people are going to get the chance to get onto the convention floor and see exactly what San Diego Comic-Con is going to look like for 2023, because it's safe to say this is going to be a much different con than many people would have liked and were maybe expecting, considering that a number of the high-profile pop culture elements to what we usually expect at San Diego Comic-Con aren't able to attend, or at least aren't being able to represent in the way they wanted because of the strikes from the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, which, quite frankly, I think could be a bonus for San Diego Comic-Con. We'll talk about that with our guests that we've got today. We've got two that's currently waiting in the wings. So tell you what, let's introduce them and let's just bring them into the live stream and welcome them along. We've got Bob Kay and we've got Brian in the room. Hello there, Brian. Hello there, Bob. How the devil are you, sirs? Let me just get rid of that. There we go. That's a bit more like it. Hello there.
Good morning.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there. How are we doing?
How you doing?
Not too bad. I mean, like I say, it's killing me, frankly, because I am seeing all sorts of pictures and the videos. I mean, I posted a video from Toby Tolentino yesterday, which was coming towards the convention center, and just as it rounded the corner, I think he was playing Jurassic Park at the time, and literally as it came around the corner, it went into full fanfare mode. It was ridiculous. So no, it's killing me. I'm not going to lie. But no, it's great to have you joining us. First and foremost, let's introduce you to everybody. We'll start with Bob first. Bob, introduce yourself. Certainly, talk about your history with San Diego Comic-Con. How long have you been going? You know, what's your history with San Diego?
Yeah, so I live here in San Diego, and I've been going to Comic-Con since I think '99, maybe 2000. It's been a while, and I've enjoyed it every year. This year, like you said, it's going to be fun and interesting just to see how things are different. I've watched it, Comic-Con evolve over the last couple decades, and this may be a step back into what it was like back in the old times. Being able to see more of the panels that I want to do because I'm not waiting in such long lines for the really big panels. So I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen this year. Weather's going to be nice, slightly warm, but otherwise it's going to be a fun time.
Cool. We've got Brian, who's having a very interesting San Diego Comic-Con this time round, because as you can see in his banner, the man's going to be a moderator on a panel, spirituality and pop culture panel. That's exciting stuff. Brian, explain your history with Comic-Con. What's your background with the show?
Okay, so we've been going since 2011.
Explain who we are as well.
What?
It's not the royal we. It's not the royal we.
It is
explain
me
who we are.
and my lovely bride. Yes, who's on the other side of the room right now. Yes, and if it were not for my wife, I would probably never have gotten to San Diego Comic-Con. I've always wanted to. It's always been in the back of my head as something to do, but she came up to me. Apparently, a bunch of her friends were going to be attending, and she said, "Hey, do you know about the San Diego Comic-Con thing? And would you like to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, that would be cool." And we got our first taste then, and we've been coming back ever since, except during the pandemic. 2019 was our last visit out here, and so
wow.
coming in yesterday, it's been kind of weird because we're walking around some of the places we like in San Diego. We went to Now or Never Comics. That was great. We walked up to the convention center where I got to pick up my first time ever panelist badge. It was kind of a surreal experience for me.
It's surreal, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a surreal thing.
I pitched this, I think the last week that pitches were allowed to be submitted, and no one was more surprised than me that it was accepted. I mean, there's been, and even this year, there are panels on religion or spirituality in comics and other areas, but they've always been, their titles have been religion or spirituality, but they've always been focused on one particular religion. And I'm an interfaith minister. I wanted to open that up a little bit.
Wow.
That's why I've got 5 other panelists with me. And so there'll be Christian themes, but I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of Vedic philosophy in there. I mean, I'm a pagan myself. We should have a really good talk.
We are going to get into your panel in a minute. Don't worry. We're going to do a full pitch for it. We're going to give it time. Don't worry about it. But we also have just joining us. Like I say, I put out the link to a chat group that I am a member of, which I'm a lurker. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit of a lurker because, frankly, I've got so many different threads and stuff going on. But I do lurk on that particular group. But it's a cracking group. And we've got another member that's joining us as well. We've got Yvonne, who's joining us. Hello there. How are you?
Hi, Leonard. Hi, everyone. I'm good.
Man.
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here.
Where are you now? I mean, are you in San Diego right now? Or are you heading towards San Diego? Where are you?
In San Diego. I live in San Diego. So I have the pleasure of always being here.
3 locals. This is so. Let me see if I get this straight. We've got 3. Oh, Yvonne's kind of like we've lost her. Oh no, she's coming back. We've got 3 locals on a live stream called An Englishman in San Diego who isn't in San Diego. The irony is not lost on me. Okay, I get it. I totally get it. But there we go. Well, we'll talk about how the city is certainly embracing San Diego Comic-Con this year, because certainly over pandemic and certainly over what we've even seen with the hotel sales, the relationship between the city and the convention. I mean, it was it was a topic of conversation even before pandemic, but now it really is a case of the city desperately needing San Diego Comic-Con as a major influx of money. So it is something that it's really started to embrace in a big way this year.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen a change that the city is kind of embracing the event on a more ground level state? We'll start with Brian. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, we just got in yesterday, and I'm not certain I can say too much about that. Although there are a number of people in this hotel. We're at the West End, I believe, and they are here for Comic-Con, and the staff has been nothing less than stellar in regards to
gushing. I can imagine.
Trying to help people, and it's like, oh yes, we love Comic-Con too. So, but I don't know anything specific regarding what the hotels are doing with the con, so I can't answer you there.
I'm curious. I mean, in the past, there's been a little bit of a nod and a wink and an ironic. Oh well, we'll dress up in a nerd shirt we've just got from Hot Topic, and we'll kind of yes, we'll not tolerate. You know what I mean. There's this thing that kind of jumps into the calendar, and all of a sudden there's this influx of money, and all the business go fantastic. Now it's a case of, oh my God, we have had 2 years where we haven't had this revenue stream coming in. Please come to our business. And I'm just wondering if there's that kind of vibe. Bob, on the ground level and the way that the city is kind of like welcomed back San Diego Comic-Con after that gap and after that blip. You see what I did there? What's been the vibe on in the city for you?
It's interesting. Yesterday I was at an event, and I was chatting with a bunch of people mentioning I'm going to be at Comic-Con, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go. What's it like? Whatever." And I always tell them, even if you can't get badges, even if you can't get into the convention center, go downtown and explore and see what amazing stuff everybody has going on. And there's a lot of vibes. There's a lot of people that are very interested in doing that and asking me, well, where do I go? How do I get there? Whatever. I tell them, probably, or Uber or whatever. Like, don't try and park downtown. It's too busy. And they're all getting excited. So the locals that I've met, that I've known, are all excited, looking forward to seeing it coming back. And the people that I know that are going are all happy to be back. You mentioned the chat group. We're all going to be excited just to see each other, because we've got people in this chat group from all over. And so we're all looking forward to that. And whether or not, there's no big studios, there's no big this, there's no big that or whatever, but there's going to be a big party because it's Comic-Con.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, when it comes to, like I say, we talked about the content over the last couple of days on this live stream and on our social medias. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of an absence of some studios and some streamers on the floor because, or certainly the talent coming onto those booths. Yvonne, certainly from what I have seen from the photos, the activations outside, because of the dearth of content, say in Hall H, or so like within the convention center, in terms of the pop culture multimedia set, I can imagine the exhibition floor is going to be absolutely rammed, and the off-sites as well really look like they're really taking up a notch to kind of match that kind of energy. From what you've seen around the convention center, have you been down to the convention center yet? And what have you seen from the level of the off-sites for yourself?
Yeah, I think with, like you were saying, with what's going on just with the studios and the writer strike and the SAG strike has really changed how people are approaching Comic-Con this year. There's a lot more interest in the offsites, a lot of those activations that required you to like sign on or get a ticket or get your name in early. Those spots got kind of snapped up really, really quickly. And I think that it's partly because of how Comic-Con's going to be changed. And just physically downtown, I was down yesterday, and I had driven around downtown on on Monday, and it just seemed like the offsites weren't as far along in terms of setup. And I don't know if you feel the same way, Bob, but I know they were still putting in, like, pretty late last night, setting up like the Snoopy right across the street from the convention center and Quantum Leap and that sort of thing. I think more on the Hilton side and behind the convention center is far more built up, but the offsites are taking place across the street aren't as completed as they normally would be, in my opinion, as Tuesday.
Sure. I mean, we've got Chuck Cook, who's a frequent viewer to the show, and also, as it happens, somebody who's going to be working the exhibition floor. And he has turned around and said, I'm certain a phrase that we will all take into our heart. The real Comic-Con is the friends we made along the way. I say that way, sir. Yeah, I put it that way. But no, he's saying here as well, an interesting comment. The chatter among con staff agrees with you. Less interest in Hall H means 6,000 extra people hammering the exhibition floor and the offsites. Out of the three of you, who has got preview night and who is actually attending and getting into the building today? Bob, we'll start with you.
No, after years and years of going to
that's
preview
a no.
night, this is the first time I didn't.
Fair enough. Will you be going down to the exhibition, round to the convention center anyway, just to get a sense of the vibe of the thing?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely hanging out downtown. I'm going to explore and check out everything off-site.
Fair enough. Brian, as a panel host and moderator, you have not only got yourself a comp badge, but a comp badge including preview night. So you're heading down, yes?
Yes, definitely heading down. We seem to have gotten, when we've purchased passes in previous cons, we seem to have this weird track record of every other year getting preview night. And when we do, it's like you feel like Willy Wonka. We're going to do our early shopping, and then we can enjoy the rest of the convention and not fret over, can we get X and Y? So yeah, we're definitely heading over.
Okay. And Yvonne, have you got preview night? Are you heading down?
No preview night for me, but I will go downtown much later, just when preview night's getting out, just so I can kind of connect with some people that are coming out at preview night.
Fair enough. Okay. In that case, for those, well, I mean, all four of us have attended preview night in the past. what do you feel? I mean, certainly yourself, Brian, I'm really interested to seeing and hearing any kind of update that you post about what the actual convention floor is going to look like, how busy it's going to be, especially tonight or preview night this afternoon. We'll go with that. I'm really curious to see how that room is going to look. And is there anything in particular that you are going to be going onto the floor to try and track down?
I still haven't looked through the entire list of exclusives, but every year we try to get over to Hallmark to get some of the special ornaments, mainly for Sharon's childhood friends who are big Star Wars fans. And if they have any new Star Trek stuff, that's going to be for me. So we're definitely making a beeline for Hallmark. And I know there's a few other artists we want to check out who have some exclusive pins that will probably sell out tonight. So we want to head over to them, but I don't want to say who they are because I don't want the competition. I'll report back later when we secure these items.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's certainly one exclusive which we kind of talked about on yesterday's live stream, which I think we're actually safe to talk about, to be fair, because I think they've been incredibly clever about the way that they've done it. This is yesterday's. They've already turned around and said that they are speaking or have spoken to San Diego Comic-Con in a way to organize their line so it's not so much of a bottleneck on the actual floor itself, leading up to their booth, which is always absolutely rammed. And they're doing a pin for those people that can't make it to San Diego Comic-Con this year. Wish I was here, which I think is rather cute. When they're actually dropping that online is 6 o'clock Pacific, when people are on the floor, and you know what the actual the reception is like inside that lead-lined coffin, which is the San Diego Comic-Con Convention Center, which means anyone who's on the floor won't be able to purchase it. It is definitely going to be for those people who are outside of the building and can't get in. So I think that's almost genius on their part, the timing of that particular drop. But no, I think you're saying, Brian, that you haven't had a look through all of the exclusives. The chatter that I've seen so far has been that the exclusives haven't been spectacular, or the list hasn't been spectacular of what has been out, and also the whole business with the exclusives portal. I'm guessing for did all three of you take part in that, and how did you do? Bob, did you take part in the exclusive portal?
Exclusives is not something that I typically take part in, so no.
But fair enough. I mean, fair play to you, sir. It's something that's flashy. That's fine. That's fine. Yvonne, did you take part, and how did you do?
Yes, I did take part, and I scored one time slot at UCC. At least it's for Thursday morning. So I'm hoping to be able to get exactly what I need since it's early on.
Fair enough. And Brian, were you eligible for that as a panel host? Were you able to get into the exclusive
portal? Yes. We did look through there, and once we figured out how it actually worked, and then looked through some of the exclusives that were there, then I just clicked away from it. It's like, I'm not interested in this portal at all.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, and I got a note right from my better half. The note says, I guess this is about the exclusive portal, and hot off the presses here. I did no response yet. So
okay.
That would be my better half, Sharon.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, what I've been hearing, it's been very thin on the ground when it comes to anybody actually doing well. So, Yvonne, congratulations on landing UCC, I guess.
Thank you.
All the best to you on that one. Before I do let Bob and Yvonne go, because I know that they'll be wanting to get down to the convention center and certainly have a look around and see what's going on and have some breakfast, perhaps, if you haven't eaten already. I know it's early doors. If you can kind of wrap up what you feel this show can be, certainly with the strikes. I mean, the reason why I say this is because it's something that I've been communicating with actors that have been saying that they are going, but there's not a great deal they can say. This can be a major platform for performers, writers, and voice actors and talent to, if they're not going to promote a particular studio or a product, they can get up there and they can grab the mic, grip it and rip it, and talk about the strike and what the studios and what their restrictions and what their demands are meaning to them as talent. We've got the world's entertainment press and a stage and a microphone. This could be, I mean, I've spoken to a number of people whose names I won't mention from CCI, from Comic-Con International, and they're thinking that this could actually be a really good thing for them because it will show them very much on the side of the artists and the creators. Maybe, yes, we'll give the platform and we'll share the stage for the studios, but for the artists and creatives, they can say, we stand with you and we will give you a microphone to give absolutely the message that you want to send out. Bob, what do you think we could see, or do you think it's going to be more of a muted con? What do you think?
Whatever way it is, I'm okay with it. If it's a muted con, that's what's going to happen. That's kind of what I expect. But if actually there's a chance for the actors and whatnot to give that speech and do the promotion that they need to do, that's a great way to use this and make it work. So I don't know what I'm going to see, but I'm excited to see it because it's Comic-Con. Everything's exciting to see at Comic-Con.
Sure. Yvonne, I know that you kind of like blipped out there for a second, but your thoughts on, I think you got the general gist of what I was saying about the talent and what they could say in terms, I mean, I don't think we're going to be seeing placards for SAG-AFTRA and the WGA in place of the usual placards that we see on the other side of the tracks outside of the convention center. Mm-hmm. But we could see some definite statements from talent about what their feelings are about this whole the strike situation. What do you feel we could see at the con this year?
I definitely think that there are going to be people that will take this opportunity to kind of give their side of the story. And I think it will really humanize these strikes. And so that the general public knows that this really is something that everyone should support. And I hope that they do use this opportunity to humanize these strikes and how it's affecting everyone involved.
Absolutely. Excellent stuff. And I think you said a word there which I should have used a little bit more often. Humanize. Very much humanizing the efforts of the talent which are on strike, and hopefully they'll come on into the building. They've got a platform which they can use, and I think a number of headlines could be generated from this con, and I think that's what CCI are thinking, that yes, you know what, this could actually work for us. Not in that craven kind of way, but I think you know what I'm on about. I think you know what I mean. Excellent. So listen, thank you so much indeed. Like I say, we're going to be doing this live stream over the course of the convention. Looking forward to seeing what you guys get up to. So I'll be paying attention to social media very carefully for any pictures and any videos that you post, because I really am looking forward to seeing what you're going to get up to. Yvonne and Bob, thank you so much indeed for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Hey, listen, take care. Thank you so much indeed. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Right. So in that regard, then, that just leaves me and Brian, because we're going to talk about something very special that's taking place on. Let me just get me get up again. I've got it on my piece of on my screen because I want to share it. Oh my word! Can I just say that you leave it alone and it will actually just reset the whole page? That's a shame, because I wanted to actually put this on the screen because Brian, you're hosting a panel. If you would like to talk about it very briefly while I just bring it up and I can put it up on screen for everyone.
Sure. I am a big fan of saying that myth is a tale that tells the truth. And one of the places that this happens most often, and sometimes very subtly, is in our pop culture. It's in our movies and TV. It's in comic books. It's in novels. It's in our music. It's all these themes appear because spirituality does not exist in a vacuum. You know, whatever your background is, stories, myths, all these things that inform the world around us, you know, how we approach the world, these also show up in our entertainment and continue to shape us as we shape them. And that's kind of what we're going to touch upon in this panel. Each of my panelists has chosen a few examples of what they regard as spirituality being expressed in a form of pop culture, whether it's a comic book, a movie, a TV show, even a piece of music. Maybe some novels will show up, and they're going, you know, it could be a character, it could be a series, it could be a scene, and they're going to say, this is what it means to me. This is why this is important. And this is how this piece of pop culture touched me. And you can see I've got a really good group of people coming up for this thing. We've got a forensic psychologist, we have a music educator, a singer, actress, cosplayer, and of course our own, you know, friend, hero within, entrepreneur extraordinaire, the crazy for Comic Con himself, Tony Kim, and also president and founder of Stranger Comics, somebody who's actually writing comics right now, and telling these fantastic spiritual filled stories. So
that's so cool. Like you say, did you say that you kind of organized this pretty late, last minute? It's something that you kind of got in under the wire when it came to the submissions.
yes.
How did that come about, and what you were trying to? I mean, just the whole idea of actually putting a panel together. What actually made you pull the trigger and make it happen?
Well, for one thing, this is the kind of panel I've been interested in. You know, I've attended I mentioned earlier that I've attended similarly named panels, but they always seem laser focused on one type of religion, as opposed to looking at a whole bunch of different types of themes that could be present in our pop culture. And we were also playing with the idea that this might be our last go at Comic-Con. So why not, you know, if it's gonna be the last time, why not submit a panel? You know, really go for it. And it was one of those things where I kept trying to figure out, how do you do this? And finally, our mutual friend Aaron, we saw that he had tweeted, "Hey, I just submitted my panel," and so I messaged him on the back channel, like, "How did you go about this? I was trying to figure out how to do it, and I couldn't find anything." He's like, "Oh, here, just go here, and here's where the form is, and, you know, good luck." Like, it's that easy?
That sounds very similar to the way that I submit mine.
Yeah, I
think I went in
Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, I think I went in via Tony Kim. Yeah, I think I hit him up for the link, and very much went in that direction.
Yeah.
But I mean, the people you've got involved, I mean, it, like you say, it is such a broad church, as it were, of people that you brought in. Dr. Marty Lloyd, Ruby Villiers Boyden, Alison Lear, Tony B. Kim, and Sebastian A. Jones. I mean, the thing about panelists, when it came to any panel that I put together, it is a case of trying to convince them to take that time out of their rather busy con. Tony is not exactly a man who has a lot of holes in his schedule. So how did that work in terms of convincing them to come on?
Yeah, I think mainly it's due to the time of this panel. You know, it's 6:30, so it's pretty much, you know, near the end of the day for the floor. So he's like, okay, yeah, I can leave my crew there doing their thing. I don't have to take too much, and it didn't conflict with any of his other you know, time commitments for other panels. And frankly, I was floored he was able to make it. I really was, because as you mentioned, people are busy, and sometimes people are coming out. People that you assume are regulars. You know, I was reaching out to some other people. They're like, I don't know if I can make it. It was kind of either they're not certain they could be here this year, or they weren't certain they're going to have time because, you know, they were in demand panelists. But
I think the choice of panelists that you've got in, I mean, a number of people that I speak to when it comes to faith-based panels at San Diego Comic-Con, they do seem to think that perhaps, it's to do with the people holding the placards on the other side of the tracks. It seems,
or to show the other
you
side.
talk about religion at Comic-Con. That's the religion at Comic-Con. It's kind of like a little heavy-handed, but what you're doing is you're very much interweaving it into the themes, the topics that Comic-Con is already talking about, and how spirituality and how faith drives those elements of pop culture. I think that's a really I think that's what makes this panel really fascinating, really interesting that you've put on.
Yeah, it's that whole idea of our pop culture can uplift us, it can inspire us, it can teach us. You can find ethical quandaries being worked out in a number of media out there. That the stories they are telling. And it was David Gerrold. David Gerrold, fantastic science fiction writer, probably most known for being the script writer for The Trouble with Tribbles. But he's also written a number of fantastic science fiction stories and a memoir about raising a child. He, and I don't know if this has been published anywhere, but I follow him on Facebook. He wrote this before. He said, a story should take you somewhere and bring you back changed. That is the spiritual element that I want to look at in pop culture. How did this piece of pop culture change you? Did it change your perspective? Did it inspire you? Did it teach you another way of looking at something? Did it show you how to understand somebody very different from you? Because that notion of reaching out, trying to understand someone or even a system that is outside of you, that is inherently spiritual. These are the things that connect us.
Sure.
And that's what we want to explore with this.
That's cool. I mean, it says right there on the screen, you're interfaith minister, which means you know how to approach a crowd, how to plan a sermon or to plan a presentation. Certainly for myself, the way I plan mine, I know my start, I know my end, and everything else is a journey, and we can go anywhere and everywhere in between. How much of your minister work has informed about how you've planned your panel this time?
Oh, it's interesting because I also do theater work. I'm a sound designer for a small professional theater, and so I also have the interfaith work. Theater, storytelling, ministry. It's all about serving the moment. What does this moment need? What does the individual in this moment need? What am I trying to express in this moment? And so, yeah, I would say a good bit of that comes from that notion of, all right, how do we start this thing and where are we going to end up? And what are a few guideposts? Because one of my favorite things about teaching ritual and ceremony is the idea that, all right, you plan this thing out. These are the things we're going to try to do. We want to hit these notes. But you also paradoxically leave a little room for the unexpected. You can't plan for, what do you want to say, that aha moment. You can lead people to possibly, like, there could be an aha moment here, but you can't plan for somebody to have it. So that's one of those little, hopefully you leave that up to whatever other powers are out there or within here to happen. So yeah, I've got, there's a start to this thing. I've got a point where we're going to, everyone's going to introduce themselves. I'm going to kind of give a brief explanation of how I look at spirituality. And then it's pretty much, all right, we're going to be kind of leapfrogging. Everyone's going to do their first example. We have, each person has 3 of them. I have no idea we're going to get through all of them because we also want to make certain we have time for, audience participation, but they're loaded to be able to speak passionately about 3 different examples, from their favorite one to, the next 2. I want to make certain their favorite was all set. And I've got a basic, I know their topics and I know some of their bullet points, but what happens in between there, what happens if somebody else has a comment about it, we're going to see what happens.
What I will say, as somebody, I mean, I've hosted, I've been a guest on one and hosted two. No, a guest on 3 now, and I've hosted 2, and all I can remember is the beginning and the beginning and the end. You blink and you miss it. And indeed, someone is turning around and saying, hopefully, because I mean, certainly for myself, because I end up turning into Lenny DJ, I end up turning into that alter ego, which just kind of like shifts Leonard out of the way and he takes over. So I kind of like end up not exactly remembering how the panel went. So hopefully, I mean, we've got Raven Fire Phoenix, number one, turning around and saying, keep this guy on, totally my bag. So there you go. You have an absolute fan. And turning around and saying, will this panel be recorded for YouTube? Because yeah, this sounds fascinating stuff.
So I want to address what you said about, you know, getting out of your own way so you don't know what happened. I tell my wedding clients, when you know, all the couples I work with for a wedding, the reason you hire at least a photographer, possibly a professional videographer, is that at the end of the day you're going to be like, what happened here? Because you know, there's so much adrenaline, there's so many things going on, you're not going to remember. It's like, okay, I arrived, I said I do, we're on our ways. What actually happened in that hour? So yes, I did submit for approval to record the panel. I have someone to record it. Lawrence, I think you might know Lawrence as well. So yeah, I got the recording hang tags. Lawrence Brenner is going to record it, and Sharon is also going to take some photos. So yeah, at the very least, I have to see what they've given me permission for. But at the very least, I wanted to have, you know, for my archives, also be able to view it to find out how did we do? How can we improve this if we want to, you know, do this again? But also, you know, have a few clips out there so that we can say, this is the kind of work we want to do, and we want to keep this. This is like the beginning of a dialogue. I want to do more dialogues like this. In fact, I have a similar dialogue coming up at the Parliament of World Religions next month about stories and storytelling and how they're important.
That's fantastic. And Ravenfire Phoenix does finish with another comment. You got to touch on Steve Ditko and Doctor Strange with spirituality. That would be awesome. So yeah, it depends if someone brings that up as an example. You see if one of your guests will actually bring that. So that'd be rather cool.
Ravenfire, if you're at the con, come and be in the audience so that you can bring these up as part of the audience participation.
One more time, let's go on then. Let's put it up on the screen. There's the whole panel bits and pieces as listed on Comic Con International and on the website. You've got the guests there, like I say, Dr. Marty Lloyd, Ruby Villiers Boyden, Alison Lair, Tony B. Kim, and Sebastian A. Jones joining Reverend Brian Weiss on this incredible panel, Spirituality in Pop Culture. There's the shed lid link. By all means, do dive in and check out the show, and you can go along and experience it for yourself on Thursday, day one, San Diego Comic Con at 6:30 till 7:30 in room 29 CD. Have you been up to the room yet?
I have not. We were close by, but we had to come. They wouldn't let us go over to the room. After we tested our badges and everything, they kind of shuttled us like, okay, you can leave the building now. You've got your badges.
Yeah, I mean, the first panel I did, which was, by the way, my first ever IRL panel. The first one I ever did was at San Diego Comic Con. I mean, talk about that to break your cherry, which was the British invasion.
Yes,
and I went to the room about 2 hours before, and I went, you know what, this is manageable. I can live with this. And then I went to the Omni last year for my Miracle Man panel, and it's a slightly bigger room, it's slightly higher profile. It's no passing trade. Anyone who went into that room went deliberately. It wasn't exactly like they had to actively want to go and hear me talk. And very nervous indeed. But you know what? Like you say, you get into the adrenaline of it. It's going to be it's going to be a blast.
I want to say one thing about the panelists, if I may, real quick. No, Bob may be there. As has been mentioned by yourself, and you know, I think Chuck mentioned it in the chat. Allison and Bob probably brought this up. You know, Comic-Con is really about the community. It's not just about the studios and actors and what have you. If the actors want to use this to state their cases and basically bring themselves closer into the community so we can help support them, that's fantastic. But the thing I wanted to point out is that just like I know you, Lenny.
Yep.
I only know these people because of the magic that is San Diego Comic-Con. I've met all of them. Now, Dr. Marty Lloyd, I have not met personally yet, but he's on the panel because of someone else I met who couldn't be part of the panel. That's our good friend, Dr. Travis, was able to get me in touch with Dr. Marty Lloyd. So everyone who's speaking on the panel, I only know them because of Comic-Con. I'm speaking to you now only because I met you through Comic-Con and Twitter, I believe. So that is what Comic-Con does. This is the community that Comic-Con builds.
Absolutely. So yeah, this is definitely this panel definitely represents the absolute best of storytelling, of the passions and the stories that they bring. And yeah, I'm really excited for you and really looking forward to how your reaction is going to be online. I'm fully expecting to see lots of pictures of you grinning like an absolute maniac. That's the face I'm looking at. There you go. That's the face. Grinning like a maniac. I think you're going to have a blast. Listen, Brian, thank you so much indeed for coming on to talk to us about this panel. And yeah, listen, have yourself an amazing Comic-Con. Get yourself down to the convention center and have yourself a great time today.
Thank you so much. Missing you so much, man. Missing you so much.
I'm feeling that myself. Absolutely. Brian, thank you so much indeed. Oh, wow. So there you go. That's the panel. Do check it out. Spirituality and Pop Culture. It's happening tomorrow, 6:30 till 7:30 in room 29 CD. Do go check that out. Right. What else have we got? We've got ourselves another topic, another panel, which is also happening tomorrow, but it's taking part as part of the International Film Festival. Now, this is somebody who is presenting a film as part of the festival, but can't make it himself. It's the director of the film, Paul Ross. And it's a film about Dean Ormston, artist extraordinaire, bon vivant, quite the character. You may know him from his work on Black Hammer. And earlier on today, we were able to speak to Paul about the presentation and about what is happening with the International Film Festival and the excitement that he's got from submitting such a film to this very specific audience. Check this out, see what you think. This is my chat with Paul Ross, director of Dean Ormston. Right. Amazing. So we are live, kind of. We're doing a bit of an interview, which we're going to drop into Talking Con, today's live stream. And we are talking to somebody who is also not in San Diego, but his heart very much is for this weekend, if anything, because of something that's happening very special and close to his heart. Welcoming Paul Ross to Talking Con. Hello there, sir. How the devil are you?
Hi, Leonard. I'm not too bad. Hope you're the same.
Yep. Can you hear? Excellent stuff. Yeah, overall, I think we're all good. So, yes, the reason why we're talking to you is because, like I say, very big weekend for you. You have been putting together a documentary on a fantastic artist, a UK artist, Dean Ormston, and the documentary Working Class Superhero is something that you've been working very hard on. And it's something that you've crowdfunded through Kickstarter. It's started to go out to the various backers, and all of that has been an adventure in itself. But now you're taking the documentary to San Diego for the International Film Festival. First and foremost, I mean, what does something like putting this kind of documentary into San Diego Comic-Con mean to you?
Well, it's the base subject matter of the documentary is essentially comic books. Although, I mean, it's about, comic book author. It's filled with comic book art. It's filled with everything. So the heart of the thing belongs to a comic book audience. I anticipated that I was only going to really kind of be able to take this to local festivals and things like that and see how it went. And I was just absolutely flabbergasted when I got an email back saying that it had been accepted at San Diego Comic-Con, which is essentially the mecca of all things comic book. And it's just the cherry on the top. I mean, it's taken 3 years for me to get to this point. I mean, we started in COVID times, and so it was really, really difficult for the first year to actually get anybody to to commit to an interview. And so,
Oh no, please carry on. This is very much your story.
From that starting point to where we're going to be tomorrow when the film premieres, it's just amazing, and I'm really grateful, and I feel kind of very lucky.
Sure. I mean, certainly when it comes to getting out to an audience, and San Diego Comic-Con, like you say, is very much a captive audience. What was it that made the International Film Festival certainly a key part of your journey going forward, and why did this particular film festival mean as much as it does to kind of get that audience out? Like you say, it's very much a comics driven show, but it's a film festival. It's a pop culture celebration at San Diego. So why this particular film festival, and how did you kind of get involved in that?
So, I mean, the thing is, the way that festivals work is you submit your film and hope and pray that someone at the other side watches it for the first thing, and then likes it for the second thing, and then thirdly, actually, accepts it for the festival itself. So you don't essentially get to choose which festivals your film goes to. You just hope and pray that it will go to some of them. And like I say, the way that this worked out is I've been using an app to basically submit to festivals all over the world, and I got a few rejections back. And the basic reasoning that I can understand is that the subject matter was far removed from what the general audience would be. So they like unique stories, but they like unique stories about, I don't know, something that's happening in the third world or something, some tragic story, which even though there are elements of that within the documentary, it's not a tragic story. It's actually quite an uplifting story and quite a hopeful story. If anybody that knows Dean Ormston knows that you can't really suppress the man. He's always kind of like, he's grumpy at times, but he's always grumpy with joyous nature, and so he's always happy with his lot, really. And so the actual festival that I submitted to San Diego Comic-Con, the reasoning that I got behind it was that I wanted a comic book audience. I wanted a place where I could go that it would be well received. And as I mentioned earlier on, this is just the daddy of all comic book festivals. This is the one. I would have been brokenhearted if I hadn't got something in there, but I'm not in control. I essentially had to submit and just keep my calm and just hope that it was accepted, which in the end it was. And when I got the email through, I just couldn't believe it. It was just fantastic.
Am I correct? Because I'm a backer of the project. I'm very much looking forward to. I mean, I've seen a live stream that you put forward of the actual initial cut of the documentary. How is this cut different? Because I think I've seen something online that this cut is slightly different that people will be seeing at San Diego. Is that right?
So yeah, I mean, one of the things the story started out more of an emotional journey for those people that don't really know. I grew up in the same village as Dean and grew up watching him in bands and stuff like that. So before anything happened with comic books, he was a bit of a hero of mine, just through the fact that me and my friends at school, we always used to go around to whatever gig he and his bandmates were performing, and just we were essentially just the groupies and the roadies for Dean's bands. And so essentially, it started out as that kind of a story. But when I showed it to people, everybody accepted that. But a lot of people, especially in the comics book industry, really wanted to get right into the the reason that they're watching it, which is comic books. And so we had a different edit, which took out some of the banned stuff. There is some still left in there. And also I went and did a reshoot with Dean so that he could talk a bit about technique and a little bit about how he works and show off some of his art skills. And so therefore it's more or less the same kind of running time, but it just has a bit more for the comic book fans in it.
That makes a little bit more sense. Also, at the end of the day, there's a number of documentaries about comic creators, some living, some dead, and like I say, some of them very opinionated about how their work is put forward and how they are portrayed. What has Dean's reaction been to the documentary, and what's his reaction to being admitted into a San Diego Comic-Con film festival?
Well, when we started this, it took me, I mean, I've said that it's taken 3 years to get to this point. It took me a couple of years to persuade him that this was anything that he would want to do. Because, I mean, one of the conversations that I had with Fiona, who's his wife and also a fantastic artist, was that Dean wasn't any good in front of the camera. He couldn't really talk. If you put a camera in front of his face, he can't talk. He can talk, the legs off a donkey most of the time. But when you kind of put it into a perspective where I suppose it means something, he just couldn't do it. And she recounted a story whereby he won an award in Germany, and all he had to do was basically record this this acceptance speech. And Fiona basically wrote out the acceptance speech on a large piece of paper, put it behind the camera, and away you go, Dean. And Dean got through the first couple of sentences and messed it up, and then got through a few more and messed it up. And so they kind of cut it down and cut it down and cut it down. And in the end, this German award ceremony had Dean going, "Thank you very much." I mean, it was a struggle to get him to be comfortable with the idea of of having a documentary about himself, because he's not really. I mean, he says on a number of occasions, I'd never really want to be famous. I'm not really kind of in that space. I just like to do the work that I like to do. I like to do the things that I like to do. I'm not really bothered with the rest of it. So it did take a while to get him to to submit and allow me to make this documentary about it. And I think he's warming to it. I mean, he's seen it a few times, and I think the icing on the cake was when it was accepted to the San Diego Comic-Con. He suddenly started to take a bit more interest in it, and request a few things that he wanted moving about, and a few things putting into it. So I'm hoping that he's happy with it. You can never really tell. I mean, he's definitely happy with the concept of it being at San Diego. Although in the last, I don't know whether you've picked up, but Stephen T. Siegel, who's the creator of Ben 10, Big Hero 6, is actually going to be introducing it for me at the conference, it's incredible. I'm really, really grateful for him to him for doing that. But we had a little communication yesterday where Steve sent through the what he's going to say, and Dean responded saying, "I hope some people turn up." So it's still at that stage in Dean's mind, that Steve is going there. It's in the comic, the comic mecca of the universe, and still he's worried that some people might, or you know, nobody might turn up. So
I think people will show up. I mean, he's a much beloved creator. I mean, it's tomorrow is one of the first films of the whole weekend in Grand Ballroom 6, and we've been putting up the links so people can find it, certainly on Shed, and it's from 5:10 in the evening. It must be interesting as a filmmaker as well to have put this film forward and to have it in a high-profile comics-based film festival like San Diego Comic-Con and not be there. That must be I don't know. That must is that painful? Is that
it's quite frankly killing me.
I don't doubt it.
I mean, I initially, I mean, I had some work on anyway, but I mean, I could have maybe you know, scutched that to the side. But initially, I thought it's no biggie. I mean, I don't know, you know, how well it's going to be received. I don't know how many films are going to be sitting around it. I don't really know very much about it. So I'm okay. I can stay at home. I don't have to go to Comic-Con. And also, I mean, the expense of going to Comic-Con, you know, at the drop of a hat. Last year, organizing Comic-Con and, you know, organizing the flights and the hotels might have been a thing. But it's probably about a month and a half that I've had notice that this is going to happen. So the nearer you get to it, everybody goes, "Oh yeah, you're going to Comic-Con, right?" So that's how much the price of the flight is, and that's how much the hotels are. So I mean, it was also something like a 29-hour flight. So initially, I kind of went, right, you know what, I can do without it. I don't need. But the nearer we get to the film's premiere, the more I'm going, oh God, why didn't I wish I was going? Why am I not there? What was I thinking? So yeah, I'm extremely frustrated. It is killing me that I can't be there at the premiere of my own film, but yeah, what do you do? Yeah. Actually, I mean, having said that though, we've got Stephen T. Siegel going, and so therefore I'm nothing in comparison. Actually, it's better than me being there because, you know, he's a guy, and I'm kind of just, yeah. All right, there we go. One thing I should mention at this point, because we've mentioned Stephen T. Siegel, is that he is going to be there, and he will sign stuff if you want to take stuff there. He's going to be at the back of the hall, and obviously he's going to be on stage, but about 15 minutes before the film, or before his slot in the film, he says he'll sign anything you want him to. So there's another reason for going to see the film. Even if you don't want to go and see the film, you can get a signature from Stephen T. Siegel.
Well, I can imagine at anywhere between 3:10 and 20 to 6 in the morning, you are going to be glued to your social media to hear about how the reaction has been over the audience at the Marriott Marquis Marina in Grand 6, as we have the premiere of Dean Ormston, Working Class Superhero. All the very best for the screening for you, sir. I'm sure it's going to go absolutely swimmingly, and yeah, I'm hoping for better things as in terms of recognition and for the documentary moving forward. I think if anything, this is a target audience. I think this is it's target rich. So
one more thing before we go. Sure. If it wasn't enough of a reason for you to go and see the film, if Stephen T. Siegel isn't enough of a reason for you to go and see the film, we are also running a competition for one of these beautiful things, he says, which is a signed print. I don't know whether you can see it down there, but that is definitely signed by the man himself, Dean Ormston. And basically, all you need to do to win that is to go and see the film, and to go onto the following link, which is spootlepog.com/feedback. Add some feedback. Tell me what you thought about the film, and one lucky person could be the owner of that beautiful print.
That's fantastic. How about that? So there you go. I mean, not only that, but you can see it there. That's the piece that the print is based on, right there on that Black Hammer book beside Paul right now. But yes, you can win a print off that just by attending the premiere. Like I say, it's at the Marriott Marquis as part of the International Film Festival, as part of San Diego Comic-Con, screening from 5:10 with that wonderful superstar intro as well. I think it's just going to go absolutely fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what the reaction is from the Comic-Con crowd. I'm certain it's going to be fantastic. Paul, thank you so much indeed for your time. All the very best to you, and yes, wishing you all the best for the screening on Thursday.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Leonard.
Excellent stuff indeed. Once again, Thursday, the 20th of July, it is going to be a hell of a screening for Dean Ormston, Working Class Superhero. And thanks to Paul for taking part in that communication, the conversation with us. Brilliant stuff indeed. So there you go. That has been our show today. Thank you so much indeed for watching. I know it's been a little bit extended, but it is day one. We're getting into the start of things magical in San Diego, and hopefully you're going to have a fantastic day as preview night kicks in. Don't forget, it's going to be a bit of a warm one as well. Not as warm as it's been in recent days, but we're still clocking around the 80 mark, certainly around the around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, just as the sun arcs over. Again, it's very deceptive with that sea breeze coming in off the marina, so please do stay safe. Put the Factor 50 on, do what you need to protect yourself, and make sure you don't come home looking like Zoidberg, because that is not the look that you want coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you very much indeed for your company today. Have yourself a great time if you are heading to San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. If you're heading down for Comic-Con for preview night, have yourself a great time. We'll do our best to bring you some more updates and information and some more interviews as we lead through the convention. That is going to be tomorrow. Please join us from 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific. That's 12 midday on the East Coast and 5 p.m. here in the UK. If you are attending San Diego Comic-Con, have yourself an amazing time. From us to you, we're back with Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego tomorrow for day one proper of San Diego Comic-Con 2023. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.